Welcome to Odd Musings, episode 191. Had a quick hiccup, had to reset that up again. Facebook's been acting up, I guess, with a lot of the streaming stuff, and it decided it didn't like us for a minute there, but once I got it reset up, we were good. So yeah, another fun episode. It's cold here. I wish I was back in Florida.
Yes. How was Florida? I'm Scott Zambelli, by the way. There's Brett Pinson.
Yeah. If they watch the intro video, they see our names.
That's right.
But if you listen to it on the audio side, then you don't see our names.
That's right.
So it was nice. We had mid 60s the first couple days and 70s the next couple days. I hear they're really cold this week. They're hitting like 50s for Florida. So I know some people that are down there.
Pray for them as they get hit by the Arctic chill of the 50s. Yeah,
as we are currently in like 12 degrees below zero wind chill. I don't know where we're at, but we're somewhere.
So. As Brett would say, we are minus 20 with a wind chill of minus 20. No.
Yeah. Well, I did that with my friends I was with last week, and I told them, I said, it's gonna be like when we get in, it's gonna be 65 with a wind chill of 65 degrees.
That's right.
And it was nice, and it does. And the thing about Florida, those people are like, oh yeah, 60s. It's a different 60, and so and actually down there, 60 degrees does feel a little chilly compared to here, where we feel a little warmer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they had the Arctic air pulling through. So just think if it had been how cold it was up here, it had basically the cold air hitting the hot air down there to create that 60 degrees.
Right.
So you get more of the chill coming from the north, but it was nice. It was comfortable. We had light hoodies, and I wore shorts on Saturday because it was hit mid. It was gorgeous all day. We had sun. That was the best thing. Just having sun every day was nice.
Yeah,
and we spent
a few days. Fortunate. We've had some sunny days here lately.
Yep.
It's those gray days that just are horrible. The endless gray days. So it is nice that we've had some sun. The sun's out today over here.
Yep,
so
same
that's
here.
Nice.
Yeah, we got sun for a couple of days here in Michigan, and then we're looking at snow and cold over the weekend. Really bitter cold next week. So it's going to be, that typical February.
It'll be winter.
Yep.
Yeah, so, we're getting into those 6 weeks that are just horrible. And no thanks to Poxitani Phil for predicting a longer winter. On the interesting note, it turns out he is 39% accurate, which is actually better than our weathermen. So,
yeah,
but it does make me wonder: is it that he's 39% accurate, or we just have we have it flipped? Because it never made sense to me that if he sees his shadow, it's a longer winter. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
Yeah, so I think they have it backwards, and he's actually 61% accurate. We just misinterpreted him because we don't really speak groundhog.
Right. I don't know. All I know is it's technically is about 6 more weeks of winter until the spring equinox.
That's right.
And then and we can have snow anytime for Michigan between now through the end of April, sometimes even into slight May. Just get a little dash of that. But hopefully we'll see a warm up eventually here and get past all this crap, and we can kind of keep moving on. So
that's right.
Good news this week is restaurants opened up here in Michigan. So I had a chance to go to breakfast yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I haven't gone out for breakfast yet. That will be this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. But we did go out to lunch, which is so nice. It's just not the same getting carry out. That food, it sits in those boxes and it kind of steams itself. And then you get home and everything's soggy
it's never as good as eating it there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to eventually going to my favorite Mexican restaurant and getting some good Mexican food because I've done takeout from there. Mm-hmm. Same thing with there's Boneheads over here on Willis Road. Looking forward to going there and hopefully having some French onion soup, which I like. Even if I don't know if they offered it for takeout, but even if they did, it would not have been the same. So,
right.
So we're seeing some things good here. So as I'm gonna put mid-March is 6 weeks away. Yes, it is.
It is.
We'll be there sooner or later. So.
Yeah, this is for Michigan. February is always the worst winter-wise. And then those beginning week or two of March, but then we start getting into the spring weather really quick. So
yep. Well, they always say March comes in like a lion, out like a lamb, and hopefully it'll be like that where we just kind of get through it all and we see a nice warm up and get some spring going again. And I think once we get the warmer weather going, even though I had someone tell me they think that we're going to see an increase, I think it's going to really help with all this virus stuff because it does. I mean, the warm up will help out more, and I think people need to really get out more and mingle will help a little bit more with that.
Yeah, so
get rid of this crap.
How about we get into our sponsors and get those wrapped up so we can get to the fun stuff like WandaVision. Can't wait to talk about that. And then we got our How to Make Comics series we're going to jump into here, which I'm geeked about.
Yep. Well, let's start off with real estate today.
All right, Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. Team Titans, we utilize the latest in technology and social media and all of those fun techie tools to maximize your home buying experience. But at the end of the day, it's still a people business, and we never forget that. And we put our relationships with our clients as our number one priority. Here's a section of our website here where you can see we got all the fun stuff. We got featured areas around Southeast Michigan here. Like, you want to live in Shelby Township area, you can click on this and you can see what's currently available in Shelby Township. How nice is that? Tools like that, it's makes it really nice to do. But Jill and I, we are realtors who, there we go. I lost my screen there. So forget about the website. No,
that's because you clicked it off.
I clicked the wrong button. Anyways, but the good news is relationships are what matter, not that website. But things are still booming. It really is. Overall, the market is still staying strong, especially if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, you gotta, if you have a budget of $230,000, let's say, you got to realistically look at houses that are 210 to 220, because your chances are, if it's a good house, you're going to have to overbid on that and do it. Speaking of Team Titans, we got the better half over there.
Hey there.
Hey, Brett said hi.
Hi, Brett. Hi, everybody.
So we've been busy. Last night we were writing up offers. We were in the office till what, 10? About 10.
Yeah.
We made an offer last night, got it signed and submitted. So we're waiting on an answer from that. We had Jill was doing showings this morning with another buyer, and we're writing up an offer this afternoon for them. So yeah, things are going well. Things are moving along. So give us a call. We will talk to you, find out what your goals are, because everybody's home buying experience, you can't use the cookie cutter approach to everybody. Everybody's goals and needs and places in life are all different. And so we will tailor the experience to maximize your experience. So give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number. Jill Webler is 586-277-2145. And follow us on Facebook at Team Titans RE.
Fantastic. Then we have our other great sponsor here, Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. At Loringer Family Chiropractic, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. They offer on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give a call to their Belleville location, 734-697-4244. Visit them at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We still have Musings.com. You can go there and click for all our sponsors and all our links to everything else that we have going on for the videos and audio and everything of this great podcast that we do every week. So definitely check them out. And yeah, I think we're looking for more sponsors. Anybody want to sponsor? Send us some money.
That's right. No, but in all seriousness, we especially with Comic-Cons coming back, one of the ways we also represent our sponsors at these shows. And so, if you have flyers you want us to give out to we meet thousands of people per show, and we do dozens and dozens of shows each. So,
well, this also goes into not just the business, but if you're doing something like a Kickstarter, which we'll be talking about again over these next few weeks, besides our own Kickstarter through Bardstone, we can definitely help promote yours through our podcast. We have some fair rates for that.
Yeah,
and then
through a sponsorship, we'll talk about it here, but also when we're doing our own stuff. But we also have our backer list that will give you access to. Well, we don't give you access, but we will promote you through it. So you can talk to all of our previous sponsors or backers, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we got a what are we, 2 weeks away from launch of the new Poe Macabre with Kevin through Bardstone. So we've got that coming up, and then
that's right around the corner. Two more weeks.
Yep, and we are heavily working on finishing up the new Crimson Shadows to get that ready for the Kickstarter in late March. So Bardstone's got a lot going on this year. So you may notice if you watch the opening video, Bardstone is our sponsor too for the show. It is our publishing company we are using for all our comic stuff going forward, and got a lot of great stuff. In fact, there's Kevin popping up. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello,
Kevin, and Then of course Michelle there. Michelle Rodriguez does a great cardio drumming. That she does it with Mom down in Sumter, and she's had some other locations for. And hopefully, as COVID ends, she can expand that out. But hey, Michelle, how you doing? Yes, Mexican Fiesta. I know they got a couple locations there on Ford Road, so definitely check them out as a good Mexican place. But I like my one over here on Whitaker Road. So
Nice.
So a lot of good food opening up. People are just excited to finally get out and mingle a little bit. And I know it's still down the restaurants, 25% capacity, 6 people maximum, but it's still nice to be able to have a couple friends to meet up with and have a little dinner and feel normal again. So and that's what I had over the weekend in Florida. It was nice to actually eat out a little bit. We, of course, ate out the whole time. And I got to tell you, for handling certain things that have to do with restrictions for COVID, Universal handles it really well. They were very nice. At no time were they ever rude about the mask restrictions and stuff like that. But they did nicely remind you to please cover your nose, which is good. And of course, I'd remind people a couple times, just back up, because even COVID, I don't want you standing right next to me. I don't need you next to me right that close. COVID be damned. I don't care. Don't be next to me. So, right. But I had fun, and we got to ride Hagrid's at night, which was fun. So
very good.
Awesome.
Cool. Man. Well, glad you had a safe trip and a fun trip, and welcome back to Michigan there.
Yes.
So another fun thing this last week was WandaVision.
Yes. Oh my God, that was good. I watched it. I did watch it on. Well, I watched it Friday morning. I happened to wake up early enough, and I was sitting there and waiting to get ready. And I was like, because the park's didn't open till 9. I was like, oh, I can watch WandaVision. So I popped it up on my phone, and my gosh, that right there just set up everything we need now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, this was what I was saying at the start. I was not thrilled with how it was starting, but I said from the start, I trust Marvel to bring this into the fold in a way that will make sense and enjoyable, and this delivered.
Yes.
This felt like Marvel MCU. They had all those side characters from all these various movies. You had Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man. You had the sister, Natalie Portman's sister in Thor.
Yeah, Kat Dennings.
Yeah,
she was in Two Broke Girls.
Yeah, so it was so nice having these multiple people, these side characters from their others to help connect it. So it had the Marvel Cinematic Universe feel.
Yep. And we're finally seeing what's going on. This whole episode kind of took all 3 of the previous episodes and within one explained everything that's going on up to this point. And we're starting to see that it's not really a manipulation of somebody else, that it is Wanda controlling this.
Yeah. We also now know who Geraldine is. She is Monica Rambeau, who was the young girl in the Captain Marvel movie, which was set in the 80s. Now, for those who know the comic book history, Monica Rambeau was actually the first female Captain Marvel in the comics. They switched that up, making it Brie Larson, but with Sword, the strategic weapons and aliens, I don't know, whatever. They always have those crazy long names. She's part of Sword. Her mom was the creator of it, and the mom was in the Captain Marvel movie. So they're bringing in all these little pieces. It is interesting to see too, because bringing Monica Rambeau to this current age, they don't have to stay connected to Brie Larson. They could dump her and bring Monica Rambeau in.
Well, and that's true. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they were very heavily invested in Brie Larson being a part of the MCU, and that has scaled back
big time. She was supposed to replace Chris Evans as like the hub of everything. Yep. She was going to be the central figure that all the stories went around, but it doesn't feel like that's the case anymore.
Yeah, and just so you know, the SWORD stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
There we go. See, I was nowhere close.
Yeah, which is cool. Now, I take no credit in this at all what I'm about to say. I saw a video from the Nerdist, and they said this last episode, basically they hinted at the return of the Fantastic Four in a way that they don't necessarily go back to do a full origin, but they could have jumped back into the 60s to bring them forward.
And we've been getting hints of this already through Spider-Man Far From Home, where we found out the Avengers Tower was sold. We see a coming soon where it said 1, 2, 3, and the number 4 was missing with a question mark. There's been a number of signs of that. They talked in that Nerdist video too about how certain elements that were mentioned in this episode can tie. Once again, these are rumors, these are theories, but they have the potential of setting up the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
So,
including Kat Dennings talking about a cosmic ray that was part of the television broadcast and other stuff. So there's a lot of little hints, which I think is great. And this is something that I was saying from the beginning. I feel that this series is setting up this whole next genre era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I think this is going to be. I think what we're finding out in this one is that, as they mentioned in the Nerdist, that cosmic radiation, whatever it was called, it's theoretically the residue from the Big Bang. Yeah. And they mentioned one possible theory is they're bringing this up because Wanda, who is utilizing this energy for her powers, may accidentally create a Big Bang, which will then create the multiverse. Mm-hmm. So, which we know that is a direction they're going with it. And the
name
Doctor
of the
Strange
movie is the multiverse, and then
right, and then even with the Ant-Man movies with the Quantumanium, they're getting into some really cool stuff here. But I have a feeling this is going to be the pivotal series to. I think she's going to do some kind of tear or creation of the multiverse to give us these scenarios. So it'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to what happens now.
Yeah, and that's the thing is as much as I saw people hating on it, it was one of those things where it's now making more sense. And I like that in that this last episode, she covered all of the previous stuff there that was done, all the different how it's moving through time, the change to color, all that was represented in this episode to kind of explain everything that's going on. And they didn't give us necessarily a full time like how long this took, but it looks like it didn't take more than a few days. But it sounds like there's also more episodes that were happening.
Right. I think they revealed each day was a decade on the show. Each day in our time. Okay. Each episode was one day in our time, a decade on the show. I think that's what they said.
Yeah. Janelle Drada is saying X-Men with a question mark. I think this is also helping to set up towards that as well. Yeah. We're definitely seeing a lot of different mixes in here that since the merger of Disney with buying out 20th Century Fox, they now own all that and they can now create, of course, the question I've been seeing the most is which will we see her actual brother that we saw from the movies, or will we see the other actor who played the same character in the X-Men?
We could.
But that of course is where the multiverse can come into effect.
This also is brings in with the X-Men, that whole line was sold off by Marvel along with the rights to use the term mutants. Now that Disney owns the other brand there, they can use mutants now. So we have not seen mutants in the Marvel universe yet, but through either the multiverse or some other, they could use this radiation to create mutants, or who knows, they could go all different directions with how they introduce mutants into our world. But it'll be interesting to see how they do this.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
and excited to see. There's so many different hints coming out, different things they're talking about, to see what actually is true, what is just the speculation. But definitely once we're able to go into movie theaters more often and they start really cranking these movies out, I think we're going to see a really cool next couple of phases. That I think it's going to be a great direction. I think they've covered it. And then they have been talking about Chris Evans supposedly is going to reprise his role as Captain America, but they're not saying how. So I don't think it's going to be a full movie arcs or anything like that. I have a feeling it's going to be in one of the series.
I have to admit, I really wouldn't mind, I think, seeing Chris Evans also play the Human Torch.
Oh, that would be cool. I loved him as the Human Torch.
I did too. I thought he pulled that off nicely, the cockiness, and he did such a great job when he first was announced as Captain America. We saw him so strongly as the Torch. It was like, how can he be Captain America? The personality doesn't match. And now it's like, of course he's Captain America, but that's called acting. He can play two different characters. Some actors can act, believe it or not. They really can't. But he can.
And he did. And he went from being not necessarily real skinny, but he definitely bulked up for the Captain America role.
Oh yeah,
and but if you see him as Human Torch, he was a little more leaner and stuff like that, and so it's definitely that's where the transition happened, and he really played the Boy Scout perfectly, and so.
Well, and as we saw, he actually lost a ton of weight to be Steve Rogers pre-Captain America.
Yes.
through CGI.
Yeah. which they did such a great job with that too. It was fantastic on that.
It's amazing how Marvel's able to pull that off and keep their budgets low. That's a thing too that has been greatly under appreciated is they really kept tight budgets on everything, whereas like DC would have these over bloated budgets. They would do their movies for half the cost of DC, but still pull it off really well.
Well, that's because they concentrated more on story than trying to make it look flashy and everything else.
But even with the de-aging and the those different things, they did such an amazing job that you would think they went all out with their budgets, but they didn't.
Yeah. So did you see though? Speaking of these series, they announced they're going to do a Wakanda series.
I saw that. Let's see. Do we have any?
The only thing I saw was just the initial announcement. Yeah. They haven't got any time frame for it just yet. But I think it's they're supposed to do Black Panther 2. But right now the series is in the works, and the director of the Black Panther is the one that's going to be helming it. That's Ryan Coogler.
Let's see here.
I guess he got a multi-year deal with Disney, so to develop multiple projects. So I think it's cool. This might be a way for them to hand over the mantle from Chadwick Boseman, who's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and you can legitimately put that mantle. So many people are like, "Oh, you can't replace him," but even from the beginning, the way they revealed the character, the power can transfer. You can have a new Black Panther, just use a different. It's not T'Challa, or it'll be someone else picking up the mantle,
right?
So here's a list of that's listed for the upcoming Disney Plus shows. Mm-hmm. So 2020. Well, you can see how blown apart this was. So these are all moved into 2021 and on. But we got WandaVision right now. You got Falcon and Winter Soldier coming up. Theatrical releases. We still are waiting for Black Widow.
Well, and that's been, I think it's still May, but I know that some movies keep getting pushed now to later in the year again, like Ghostbusters and the James Bond movie and all that. But I'm hoping that they're able to keep it at May, and then we're supposed to see like the Eternals later this year, and then that's missing a couple there because I believe Spider-Man's supposed to come out December now, and then Doctor Strange I believe is on that list too.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is on there. You got so for TV, we have Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, What If, which I have a feeling they're going to utilize the multiverse there. It's like we're peeking into the multiverse to see how things turned out in these other universes. Miss Marvel is listed on there. I don't recall hearing about Miss Marvel. Do you?
Yeah, I heard something about that. They've talked about Ms. Marvel before.
Okay, so
I'm wondering if Kevin says he thinks there'll be 2 Captain Marvels, but I'm wondering if Geraldine or Rambo, as we see, is going to become Ms. Marvel.
And Hawkeye, of course. But with the Marvel theory there that Kevin put out there, you could have both. They could do this almost like the Green Lantern Squadron for Marvel. Yeah. And then because then we could have the original Captain Marvel even from the Marvel comics, which was a male who was a wonderful superhero there.
But if they're dealing with the quantum realm and time and everything else, and then the multiverse, and you can pull if they're going to pull the Fantastic Four from the 60s, but bring them forward through the multiverse / quantum realm and all that stuff, then they can do the same thing with the original Captain Marvel and almost have like the Silver Age of heroes brought into the modern age and go from there. So
right.
Exactly. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do, and they're definitely setting up to where I don't think it's going to be a mistake on what they're doing. I think it's going to allow them to really expand everything else, and even keep certain movies that, even though we may not be this thrilled with them, that have happened that were not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, becoming part of it now through that, and that's where we're seeing like the Spider-Verse stuff that's supposed to happen in this next Spider-Man movie. So it's something cool. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited. We'll see where things go, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I did. I'm not going to get too much into it, but on HBO Max, I watched The Little Things with Denzel Washington. Got released in the theaters last week, and then came on HBO Max. It was okay. It was good. It's worth a watch if you get a chance to. It's not something I probably would have gone and seen in the theater anyway, so I didn't mind watching HBO Max. But definitely worth checking out. I like Rami Malek. He was really great in it. And
I'm a big fan of
Jared
Denzel.
Yeah, and Denzel's fantastic, and then Jared Leto's in it, and they've been hinting at stuff of Jared for the upcoming Snyder cut of Justice League.
Okay.
So there's been some
We
pictures
also
popping up
have
here and
him.
there. So
His movie wasn't listed, but he's got who's he playing in the Spider-Verse? He's got his own movie there. He's the vampire guy. I'm blanking.
Morbius.
Morbius, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to be.
Yeah,
in
that's
that.
supposed to be out. Isn't it? I think it's out in the summertime too, isn't it?
I think so. That wasn't on that list, so that might have been an old list.
Yeah, the list only had a few. There's like about 8 movies they announced. So.
Although I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know if they're going to treat the Sony projects as a multiverse thing where it's not in the MCU itself, so they don't have to try to coordinate. I think they're doing something like that, but.
I know there was like talk of them taking back Spider-Man and it not being part of the MCU, but then that was retracted pretty quick.
Yeah,
I think that was something else. I have a feeling Sony realizes that being a part of the MCU with the ones they have, but still being able to make those movies is going to be more beneficial in the long run to them than anything else. It's the way to go.
I'd rather make 50% of $10 billion than all of $1 billion.
Well, you look at the Spider-Man movies tied into the MCU have far outweighed what they've done before. So, and they've already said that if they had come out where it had been just a Spider-Man movie without the MCU, it would probably be done a half to 2/3 is what they were saying. So,
right, I agree.
In that, so I agree. That's the way to go. So, right now, just look real quick, and before we move on, Black Widow's still slated for May 7th. It looks like. March 19th, Falcon and Winter Soldier will launch on Disney Plus, and then in May they haven't got the date is the Loki. I think all these play together really nice. But July 9th, they're going to have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Okay.
Played by Simu Liu. And
that's theatrical release, so that'll be good.
And then November 5th is the Eternals.
Okay.
So that's when that's scheduled to come out. And then December 17th is Spider-Man 3. And then late this year is when we'll see Hawkeye pop up too. And then they're also talking Ms. Marvel late 2021. It's a Disney Plus show. And actually, no, it's not. So I guess my theory is going to be wrong because it says star Aman Vellani will join the cast. Now, of course,
so they're doing the Muslim version. I think isn't that character the female?
I
Muslim
think so. Yeah. So Ms. Marvel will be a Disney Plus show, and then she'll join the cast of Captain Marvel 2. And then next year, March is when we get to Doctor Strange, and then followed by May of Thor, Love and Thunder, which there was some set pics popping up now. So that'd be cool.
I think that helps support Kevin's theory of multiple Captain Marvels.
That's possible. Time. Yes. Yeah, and the Captain Marvel movie is not due until next year, November. Is what it's slated for right now. And then late next year will be the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special before they have Volume 3 hit in 2023 now. And supposedly in 2022, we'll see Moon Knight as well as She-Hulk, because we know they're doing some casting for
That'll be on TV, right?
Yeah, those are Disney Plus. And then also in 2023 in the theaters, we'll have the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania. Yep. And then also Fantastic Four. And they're supposed to be bringing back Blade.
That was another theory Nerdist put out there is the Quantum Mania is where we'll get introduced to Fantastic Four and find out they were trapped outside of time and space through the quantum realm. And then and this might be how they'll bring in, kind of like with Captain America being a hero out of time, we could have the 60s feel of the Fantastic Four, bring them the 60s to the present, but through this quantum realm.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting too.
That'd be cool. And of course, Blade's supposed to make a comeback. Secret Invasion on Disney Plus. Ironheart is also rumored for development for Disney Plus. That of course is the teenage hero Ironheart.
Yeah, in the comics, Tony Stark is looking to retire. He's getting old, and it's hard to fight crime all the time. And so he looks for a protege to train, and he finds this brilliant female at MIT, I believe. Who loves to invent things, so he kind of takes her under his wing
I think
teaches her how to be Iron Man. They're
going a different realm on this. It's supposed to be it's a young black girl from the inner city of Chicago who reverse engineers his armor to become the protector of her neighborhood. So, and then we're supposed to have an Armor Wars. So that's gonna be he'll return to his Disney Plus series again. A lot of these are Disney Plus series.
Yep.
They're doing a I Am Groot series on Disney Plus. It's gonna be shorts though.
I wonder how hard the script was to write for that one.
Yeah. Well, I think with I Am Groot, it's going to be a bunch of everybody else and not just
It says
Groot.
I am Groot is the only 3 words spoken.
Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff on that. So,
Indeed.
but, you know, we're talking Marvel, and then we also have our own comics that we do.
That's right. We do.
So we got a lot of cool stuff going on with that. So last week we kind of talked a little bit about where we get ideas and stuff like that. So Scott, why don't you start us off today?
Well, the writing process, you know, once you get your idea going and you have your inspiration and you jot down these ideas, it's time to actually put words together, which a lot of people, we meet people all the time and we love you all, you know, it's great. But everyone loves to come to your table. I have this idea. It's this $1 million idea and it's the best idea ever. And blah, blah, blah. And they go on this. You can tell they've never actually sat down to write it down. Like they have all these cool dots, but they've never actually connected the dots. Mm-hmm. They've never figured out, well, what's the flow of the story? It's a concept they have, but you've got to write it down to get it to flow. A story has structure, and it's important to do that. So the other bit of advice I'm going to say is stop telling us your $1 million idea. You're in a room full of people hungry for $1 million ideas. So I don't want to hear your idea, because what if I have an idea that's similar to yours? I don't want you coming back to me down the road saying, well, I told you that and you stole it from me. No, don't only share your idea. If you really think you have $1 million idea, only share your idea with people who have signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Yes. And I've told people that. I've said, look, if you tell me your idea, I can't guarantee that I don't have something in the works that sounds like that. And if I call them, I said, but realistically, don't tell me. What you need to do is actually get out there and do it. And it's just like me. When I had an idea for the Expendables, and I'm going to share here real quick is after I did the initial idea, I wrote the script. And there's the original script.
Yep.
And that's all it is. This is not a very detailed script. Mainly, it's a lot of dialogue with a little bit of setup. And then I worked with my artist, Adam, to kind of flesh it out even more. And this was done not too long after my car accident, probably about 3-4 months. And so a lot of it was very rough. I was trying to remember how to write again in terms of layout, stuff like that. But most of this is just the dialogue with a little bit of setup sometime later, things like that. And one thing I did with this is when I talked to Adam about it, is that I said, look, I'm going to kind of have it kind of open quite a bit. I didn't block out panels, pages, things like that. I wanted to really make it a fully creative thing. But as a writer, if it's your story you're really working on, that you have a passion behind, very detailed, even if you're not going to draw it, you probably should get into more details of how you're wanting the layout to look. But then give the artist a chance to say, hey, this doesn't work drawing wise. Let me how I think this would flow. And that's where we talked about thumbnails come in. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the key is to write.
Yeah. And when you're writing too, it'll be a big difference in how you write depending on what the step in the process is after you. If you're like, for instance, I got two separate ones. I don't have but like, here's my script for Crimson Shadows. Mm-hmm. Crimson Shadows, we were working as a team. So I had my ideas. I had to put them down in paper, though, in a way to convey to the artist exactly what I wanted. If you have, like, Brett had a very close relationship with in creating his, so he didn't have to structure everything as much. Whereas somebody who maybe you don't have as close a relationship or you don't talk to as much, you may need to have it more done in writing. So I did mine more like almost like a script, like a screenwriting type thing, and I laid it out in an outline form where I have page 1, and then I first give a description of what's going on the page, then each panel I give panel by panel breakdown, so you can see exactly what's happening. So the artist knows. Okay. I also knew in these I was going to supply the thumbnails, so I could block it out and get the flow. So between this and the thumbnails, the artist who's doing the final pencils would have a pretty clear direction of where to go. Whereas Wretched Realms, issue 1, I was handling the artwork as well as the writing. So I did that. That was done on a 1-page sheet. Whereas what's this one? This one is, how many pages is this? 5 pages. So this is a 5-page script here. Wretched Realms was just a 1-page outline because I was doing the artwork. So I just wrote down the bullet points and the rough script that I wanted. And, and then after I was done drawing, I finalized the script there. But your writing will depend on who in the process is going to look at this later. But at the very least, like even with the outline I did for myself, I wanted to create a definitive flow to the story so I didn't go astray while I was, you don't want to just draw random pages for the heck of it. And wherever I end up, you end up. You want to know how many pages is this going to be and go accordingly. So that's how we did that there.
Yep.
And Brett, your training was actually in screenwriting.
Yes, and I was kind of looking to see if I had some of the books here. I've been slowly reorganizing my bookshelf I got here, and I'm still bringing a lot of stuff out from boxes and that, so I haven't got a lot of that stuff out right now. But one of the books I have is something I got. Actually, John got this for me back a long time ago when we first started doing comics and that. And the thing about writing is you need to read. Yeah. And people don't realize that. But one thing you can read besides just regular stories is stuff like that. So I've got this book here, and there's a couple of them. I don't know if they're still available, but if you can find books like this is called Writers on Comics Script Writing 2. So this talks about how to do comic scripts for that. And I've referenced this a few times, and there's people in here like Jeff Johns. Well, people know who Jeff Johns is. Brian K. Vaughan, Ed Brubaker, Brian Bendis, Greg Rucka, Dave Sim, Kevin Smith's in this, Bill Willingham. So this is a great thing to read. The thought process goes into writing that script, working on the story and things like that. I came, of course, from a film background, and there's a lot of different books on that stuff. I was looking to see what else I had here. Well, heck, I even still have, this is one of my college script writing books right here, writing scripts and for television, radio, and film. And the principles of script writing don't change. It's been done for, they refine some things here and there. What changes is the technology. So a lot of these books, no matter how old, will have information that you're going to want to have. But it teaches you about layouts, how to go from there. Writing comics. So, I mean, this is very specific on the comic genre, but I recommend reading about how to write film scripts, television scripts, things like that, because it will add to your storytelling and how you present that to the person that's going to actually create the final product for you, which is your artists, your colorists, and your letterers. And for the stuff I do my own lettering. And I do recommend that if you're a writer, your own lettering, allows you to revise the script a step further once you get the images back. Sometimes you look and go, oh, I've got too much dialogue here, or I need to put a little bit more dialogue in to explain what's going on here to help that out. And that's something to get there, because even if they follow your script to the letter, then there's always going to be some slight changes on that. And while we'll get into lettering at another time, I use the Comic Craft comic book of lettering. This teaches me how to actually do the computer work a little bit. It's a little older, but it gives the basics on stuff like that and how to use Illustrator with it. And we'll talk about that on another episode.
So I just want to show here, like here's I zoomed in so it can be easier to read on the screen. But so like here's just a sample, like how I did the page breakdown.
Yes.
Where's my right screen? There it is. So like page 2, I've got Sherlock kneels down analyzing dirt for a path the killer took, and then panel 1, and then I've got the dialogue there. I've got the action, what he's doing. You're not writing a novel, so you don't need to write. I've seen people's writing where for a comic book where they have just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. It doesn't. You got to understand, like a full issue, a 28-page issue of Crimson Shadow Suit, it's a 5-page script is all it is. It's not, you don't need 100 pages of novel writing for a 28-page book. So minimize. And that's where writing it down first, get your thoughts down. Either you can write it out if you want, but understand most of it's going to get cut, or an outline format. That's what I like. And I usually do. Each page is a bullet point in the outline. And just so I can make sure I'm mapping the progress of the story, because what you're going to find there is you're going to be limited by the page count. Whether if you're doing a single issue, you're going to do, 22, 26, 28 pages. Or if you're going to do a trade, you're going to be able to do more. But if you don't track your page count, you're going to lose control quick.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Because and while my basic script I showed you was just that, a basic script, we kind of went through and I talked to Adam about it and said, okay, let's try to break this down a little bit. And I've done most of my other scripts. I actually, going forward at that point, I was doing more of, here's this page, this page, this page. Because when I first started doing comics, my partner John, we were he could draw it, I'd write it, so we were really together the whole time. I was like, here's a script, let's go over it. And we'd start breaking it down that way together. So we had multiple, he had his copy of script, mine, and then we start breaking it down. And then from there, then we go to the thumbnails and everything else. So, but when you're writing, especially to hand off to somebody else that you're hiring to draw, or whoever it is, even if it's someone that you're not necessarily paying, but they're still drawing for you, you want to have as much a breakdown as possible. And a good artist will also look at this as they're going through and say, okay, this doesn't work for your reveal you have here. And they'll let you know on that stuff. Now, if you tell them, say, I want it exactly as it is, you're going to get exactly what you got there. So you got to allow your artist to have the creative input of, this may work or this may not work.
Right.
And have you thought of this to give you an idea? And that's where you have to be open to that. And that's definitely where the page count comes in, because you want to make sure what you're going to do. You also think about cost. The cost of the comic of a 24 page versus a 28 page, there's a different cost involved there. And if you're trying to keep your cost down, you need to keep it trimmed down in terms of what you're showing in that particular issue.
And also think about your price point.
Yep.
If you're trying to sell a comic for $3 versus a comic for $8, well, you can fit more to make it worth the $8 to your customer. You're going to want more pages. Mm-hmm. If you want a $3 comic on the shelf, well, that means you got to produce it for $1.50 or less. So you got to have a lower page count. So,
or if you're going to have a higher page count, you got to plan to print about 10,000 copies.
Yes,
to get your cost per book down, and that's very expensive. But when you're self-publishing, it's not always available to go.
Right.
So, yeah, Bob Hickey's jumping in talking about good info. Now, Bob Hickey, hey Rob, let's go over here. Been in the comic book industry for years, and let's see if I have some here. Hold on a minute.
Yes.
The thing is, as much as we're all digitally drawing, I still use paper a lot of times, and here's a plug for them. Comic book paper, Blue Line Pro. I love their paper. I've been using it forever. This stuff, and nice thing about this is, even if you're going to do digital drawing, you can start off rough digitals and go from there. If you're looking to have original pages, it's good to actually start on paper or pencil and go from there. And I recommend checking out Blue Line Pro for all those needs on that. But Bob's been not just supplying artists with the stuff, he's been producing comics and everything else. You can go back. We have they're right there, Blue Line Pro. You can go through. They did a recent Kickstarter. I just got a box full of comics. They had a great deal to get previous issues and things like that. So Bob's been writing and publishing comics forever.
Yeah, he just had a successful Kickstarter not long ago that we got our rewards in couple weeks back there, and absolutely loved it. So Bob understands both sides of it. He understands the material side, and in all seriousness, if you do need comic book art supplies, check them out. Even if you do mostly digital, I'm telling you, you don't want to lose the traditional touch. Yep. Even if you're drawing all that, do sketch cards or something where you're actually using the paper and pens, because that's going to keep your skill set. That's going to keep your muscle memory strong. Whereas when you do it's kind of like using a calculator. Doing digital, there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. I do it a lot myself. But if all you do is use a calculator, one day you're going to have to do math without a calculator. And you suddenly realize, oh my God, I haven't done multiplication for years. So you want to keep that memory exercised.
Yes.
So.
And then this is a great thing here. Sketch Magazine is coming back this year.
I love that magazine.
So, Bob, when you're ready to make some announcement on that, or anytime you want to join us, let me know. We'll let you on join us at any time this next several weeks while we're talking making comics. Love to have you back on. You've got a lot of insight into the industry and that. But Sketch Magazine, when I started doing comics and started getting ready to do them back in 2004, that's actually when I met Bob. I was the volunteer at Motor City Comic Con. I helped him bring his stuff into the show. And we talked throughout the weekend, and John are like, well, this is what we got, and this is what we want to do. And he gave us a lot of good insight. turned us on to Sketch Magazine, and which we'd already seen a few times at comic shops, and we're like, okay, and they started going through it, and a lot of great information in there. So definitely Sketch Magazine when it comes back. If you're interested, even if you're not looking to actually make your own comics, but you're just interested in the mechanics, how it breaks down, just like watching how behind the scenes how they make a movie or TV show. This is the book for you, magazine for you, and it's going to have everything you need. And Bob knows all the people throughout the industry that are going to probably be putting articles in this, as well as some of their key people they've had before. So I'm looking forward to seeing this again. Definitely recommend it. So check that out there. But it's along with a lot of other stuff out there. It's the source material that helps out, and you want to research for yourself. I'm going to share this real quick. This is just a quick Google search showing you guys. These are just some of the books and that are out there. A couple of ones I have are here. I have this penciling book for DC. They have a how to create comics from DC. They've got a lot of the DC ones. And DC, while I'm not crazy about their movies as of late, they know how to make comics, and they know what to do, and it helps out there. The lettering book I showed. I also have the hi-fi coloring for comics. Great.
I have that
one
too.
You know, Brian Miller does a great coloring on that and has done that in the industry for a long time. And there's a lot of other ones, Gaiman's got books out, The Idiot's Guide to Make a Graphic Novel, things like that. There's, and then graphic novels themselves, like Mouse. That one right there, I actually read in a psychology class. And it's definitely one of the pinnacle graphic novels out there. And he's got 2 books out of that he did. And it tells a fictional story around World War II, dealing with mice and cats and that. So that was pretty cool. And then you have even the Marvel way of drawing comics. They have the Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics.
That's the classic right there. The Marvel one. It's that I had that growing up.
Oh yeah. And then Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. That's a great read. He talks about, the comics themselves and looks at it from a kind of like a study. This is how you read comics. This is how understanding comics. Bill Eisner's Comics and Sequential Art. Will Eisner. That's a great book right there. Same thing with Alan Moore writing. I've got both those books, and then I have the Art of Comic Book Writing. I picked that up actually at a show. They had a torn cover one for like $2, and I bought that just to add to my basically my arsenal is what it is. Because you want this information, you want to be able to learn and continue to grow. No matter how much you do writing, you should continue to understand, research, and learn.
Yep, definitely. Art is always a learning process. Like for myself, it's a lifelong pursuit. It really is. You want to constantly learn, because it's not only our tools always changing, but your style evolves over the years and it changes. Even for myself, like what I'm doing right now. Actually, I'll share a sample page of of the current status. I'll share page 24 or whatever page number I just uploaded. 25, page 25 of Crimson Shadows 2. We'll give a sneak peek here. So I grab that. Is it loading? Why is it not opening? Refresh. There we go. Okay. So I'll share this page. Share screen. I wish it was faster. I wish I could just click and go. Whatever. Okay. Share. There we go. So here is page 25 of Crimson Shadows 2. It's a exciting page. Now, this goes back to what we talked about last week too. You got to plan your pages. The odd number pages are going to be on the right-hand side. The even number pages are going to be on another side. And so you want reveals to happen at certain times. So like on this page, he's transforming, but then the reveal is going to be on the next page. So I wanted it so when you flip it, the reveal happens. So when you're writing, plan that out, and what you might realize is like, oh, the reveal is happening a page on an even page. Then you have to make the decision. Okay, is there somewhere in the story that I can insert more story to push that page back? Or is there something I can cut to move it forward so that, it ends up on the right area? So, Kevin, crazy how much your style changes over the years. Yep, that's true. Like this, what I'm doing right now is nothing like my past styles. I've been greatly influenced on this project. It's been a really fun experience because with Travis Smith's style coming in and blending with Kevin Meinert's style, blending with my style, we've created this look and feel for Crimson Shadows. And my style has been evolving to match this style, which has been a lot of fun to do. So anyways, I thought I'd share that. But your styles change over time, but but it also makes it fun as an artist and a creator, because if you only do the same thing over and over again, you might be really good at that one thing, but you're going to be bored. You're going to feel unfulfilled. And over time, when you try to do something that you used to, you're like, oh, even certain things I do now, I haven't drawn like my photo reel paintings. I haven't done in a while. So like the other day, going back to that, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get brushed up on this before I get back into that style, because I haven't done it. And I for the last 2 years, we've been doing so heavy on sequential art. I haven't been doing those kind of art. So it's a constant process.
Well, and that's the thing to keep in mind as you're writing your stories too, is as you're visualizing it, keeping in mind how sequential it is, and you don't want to make it too difficult panel to panel to recreate what's going on. You want to give your artists a little bit of break, so that way they're not constantly having to draw. It's like, you may do some have some detail work in there, and some artists can do different things with it, like draw it once and then reincorporate it digitally. That's a great way to utilize the digital aspect of drawing comics. But you don't want to have so much detail on every one of your pages that your artist comes back and goes, this is going to take me forever. And most of it's not storytelling. As an example, I knew a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention who was the project. This is from years ago, but he wasn't getting paid much per page. But when he turned it in, they're like, well, where's this device at? And he's like, what's he talking about? It wasn't in the script. They're like, well, on every one of these banks in Manhattan, they have this device and we want to see it in the background. Had nothing to do with the story, nothing to do with it. That was a ridiculous request. That was something that didn't play. And most people are not going to know there's some crazy device that's sitting in the background.
Have to, anything, whether it's a character trait, a feature, something in the background like that, you got to let your artist know. Yeah. You don't want to get to the end, because you're going to have to pay them to redraw those then. That's not right to put it on them. Here's another example of writing. So we have page 24 here. Once again, that's the reveal page, right? Now, this particular page, there's not a great reveal to this, but the previous page, we were in an outdoor setting and they were out in front of the house. And there's interaction. This here is Kevin's inks on top of my pencils. They're looking awesome. And then, but then the transition occurs to inside. So I didn't want the transition from outside to inside to occur on the same 2-page spread. So I had the change of scene occur on the even number page, so that when you flipped it open, the change occurs. Yeah. So that's another way to utilize, the media. You got to think of the media. What is the reader's experience? This is also why when you read it in a digital format, it comes out different, because sometimes you have the page turning software, so it looks like the page turns, but often it's just in a vertical format. So you don't experience it that way. So this is why for me, when I do my Kickstarters, I actually send the PDF file out last, because I want my readers to experience it in the media that it was intended. The printed format. So that's why I actually send mine out last. So I just want to give this as another example of the, here you can see this shot here, he's peeking out the door, then he goes inside. So it's a transition of scenery that occurs. So, yeah.
So we're getting into our show today, but so next week, I think we'll get into kind of like how to thumbnail out that script.
Yep.
And everybody does it different. I've seen some people, they go pretty much almost a fully rendered image for their thumbnails. Yep. And then some do very basic. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And get into how you transition from your thumbnail to your finished pencils to get ready to send off to your inker. And
that's right.
Making your stuff. We'll talk about that. And then hopefully, 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing a launch of the new Bardstone Hub 2.
Yep.
I've got a story in there. Kevin Miner has helmed it, and he's got his stories, his artwork, as well as got some artwork from Sean Forney's doing. I know he did the cover, and then I know Jay Fife's involved. So we'll have a nice little launch party in 2 weeks at 7:00 in the evening. We'll do our Wednesday nights launches on those. So definitely join us for that. But join us next week. We'll talk more comics, more fun stuff. We'll see what happened with WandaVision, and kind of go from there. And it's also getting close to Valentine's Day. and I will not be participating because I'll be working.
Yeah. Side note: if you're too excited for the second half of the season for WandaVision, they did release a mid-season trailer, which I thought was interesting. So feel free to look that up and check it out. I'll give you some teasers for these last 4 episodes. And I did find it interesting they did a mid-season trailer, though. I wonder if they were losing people because of the format of the first 3.
I think so. And I saw a lot of people that loved it. So a lot of people said they hated it. And I think what it is the ones that hated it, though, I think they were like, oh, it might be something there, but I don't care now. And I was like, I enjoyed it for what it was, as a kind of almost a parody of those shows. But as there's always a little nugget in there. And now we've got what it all comes together as. And now going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Now that we've got Sword involved and things like that. And be honest, I kind of hope I wouldn't mind seeing what's the one actor's name, the Asian guy that was or the character's name was it Chu or something like that, or
for what
for WandaVision? He was the one that was standing outside the town.
Oh, Wu. It's Wu.
Yeah, Rue. I'd like to see him and the Kat Dennings character, and people have speculated, so I thought this before too, do a show together. People wouldn't mind like an X-Files style, and that'd be great for the Marvel.
The upcoming Loki series, they have that kind of Men in Black series entity that exists outside of time and space that Loki will be recruited to be part of. Wu would be a great fit in that organization.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see them do something with both of them and maybe eventually get their own show. It'd be fun. And they did it in the comics where they had some spin-off stuff that could be, if done well, this could really play to all in between stuff in the movies and that. Yep. So, well, we'll speculate more next week. So, hey, join us next time, guys. Always a pleasure having you. And then anybody, so we got one quick comment here. Miles, hey, buddy, 2 words. It's great. Yep. That's Miles, right. Glad you joined in, buddy. I ain't seen you in a long time. So, but with Comic Guys over up, we'll hope to see you all soon. So until next week, guys, take care.